gonna go nuts. This thing's gonna go nuts if we don't get the seatbelt.
Love the mini screens in these new ones. It's so stupid. It can't cost them much more just to do a normal size screen. It's already made for it.
This is the same way we started out Kyle's. So today on Mountain Bikers Getting Food in Cars, we have Carson Storch and La Barca quesadillas.
That food truck is good.
Those guys are awesome. They're my favorite tacos in town.
Yeah, I felt bad I didn't do a flat spin next to their vehicle, but it got really windy.
I remember you on a scooter in the skate park.
Scooter?
A little Razor scooter. And I was like, what is this kid doing? Why is he on a scooter? And then I saw you start doing flip whips back when very, very few people do flip whips. And I was like, all right. This little Carson Grom looks pretty sick. And I don't know, it's wild how it feels like it was just yesterday, but I mean, you're always going to be a Grom to someone, right? But you're a grown-ass man, and you've withstood the test of time and a long career. So, do you often look back on like why you are where you are, why your career's lasted longer than others, and why you went the direction that you did?
For sure, yeah. I'm grateful. So I was just another Grom, and I was lucky to have like Kurt Voorhees and Goldman put me under their wing when I was younger, because without them I definitely wouldn't have a career or the opportunities at all that I have now.
It's pretty funny because my Kurt was the person we looked up to the most, besides the person whose house we just passed home.
Yeah.
So it's even more insane to think about Kurt's career and how he's transcended sport and been like the person to help cultivate your career and help bring you up.
Yeah.
And we were 10 years before you.
Yeah, he's brought up like, I don't even know how many generations, because even now he's bringing up a couple Groms in town, in Bend, that deserve an opportunity and have a lot of talent, and like, I don't know. Yeah, when I was younger, I definitely was never the best out of our whole riding group at home, and Kurt kind of helped accrue with us. I think, me and Kurt talk about it all the time, because he was there the whole time, seeing, what I was doing and what I was going through, and he just thinks it worked because I wasn't the best, and I had drive, where like,
dude, there's
somebody that has all the talent in the world, and they just shine bright and burn out, and
there's a lot
not
to be
every
said
time.
about that. Yeah.
So I guess my drive is I just needed to escape some of my family life, and I did that by riding bikes, and then Kurt started helping me, and then I was just driven. I was never the best, and I just slowly made my way somehow, and stars aligned in a lot of ways, and transitioning from slopestyle to being fully focused on freeride was something I'll for sure be grateful for, because a lot of the dudes I competed with in the slope game, they're no longer having a career, and it's just, it just sucks. There's not as much opportunity unless you're killing it and winning. And
yeah, it's kind of just a timeline on it, because it's 100% progression based, and I think that's what we love about riding so much, is constantly progressing. But your whole career can't be contingent on progressing to the next trick. It's not really sustainable. But it's wild to hear all these similarities. And Kyle and I both had used riding as escape, didn't even realize when we were younger until we're older, and some people bring it to our attention of why we went street riding, why we got out of the house, just to avoid drama and family life. And then Kyle was definitely more naturally talented, but at the same time he still worked for it hard, and I worked for it hard because my brother was so much more naturally talented than me, and I would always try to show him up, and he would just hop on the bike and be way better. So
yeah,
it's pretty awesome to hear like your two motivations are like the exact same things that have given me the grit. I think the grit is the most important.
Yeah, for sure. I never get sick of it, and now it's just completely part of my life. I don't even think about, like, all I want to do is ride. It's not like any other hobby that I've ever had, It's like, it's just like ingrained in me now, and been doing it for long enough where it's just kind of second nature, and I don't see myself slowing down anytime soon.
Yeah, I think I think if you last a certain amount of time, then you almost avoid burnout. Whereas if you're motocross racer and you're out by 25, you know, because you've been training so hard since you were like an infant, that, you know, that's just a ticking time bomb. There's a timeline that you will get burned out, you know. But I think as far as loving the sport so much and being able to ride so many different things, it's there. As soon as you get past, say, like a 10-year threshold of like a 10-year run on a career of being sponsored and knowing how to run it, then it's almost like you're almost never get burned out, you know. I think even after the progression stops, I'll still be wanting to ride just because I love it so much. And the bike's better, sport's better anyway.
Yeah, for sure. I found my progression to just shift too. Like focused less on learning something every time I ride and more about riding the way that I want to ride and perfecting what I do.
Yep.
And I still have drive to like learn new shit, but not like when I was younger and every day, every session, I'd be eating shit the whole time, trying to learn something, chucking myself.
Well, and that's not
like
sustainable
there's a
either.
time and place, and yeah, that's the other factor in it. Definitely is avoiding injury and picking battles.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know why people keep calling.
busy guy.
Well,
Camp Zink
production.
Invitational.
Yeah, Camp Zink Invitational just wrapped up. But this edit probably won't come out until after you've seen the Invitational. But that was one wild week. And now we have some post-production duties to take care of. But yeah, even at the beginning of this week on my own property, I think I often feel like people are underwhelmed when I'm riding, you know, because I'm always just picking my battles, just trying to enjoy myself and not worried about what anyone else thinks of what level I should be at or what tricks I should be doing all day, every day, you know?
Yeah.
I just enjoy flowing through the lines the most, and then if I'm feeling good that day to try tricks, I think
that's the whole part. You like, as you evolve as a rider, I mean, I hope everybody kind of like, I think the ultimate goal is to have fun. And there's been points in my career where I did not have fun.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do what I was doing because all I had was self-pressure.
Was that mainly slopestyle days, or?
It was slow style. It made it. There was a number of years where, you know, I had one good year, kind of breakout year where I didn't win everything, but I rose the ranks in the F&B World Tour, and I was in the top 10, and then I was invited to all the big events. And then I just burned myself out because I put way too much pressure on myself. And then I think Rampage in 2016, when I unexpectedly got third place, that fully saved my career because it shifted me and put me into a whole different realm and realm of opportunities. And everybody I ride for, they wanted me to pursue just freeride, big mountain, film parts, and it just kind of led me down a road that, you know, ever since then I've had way more fun on a bike than I ever did. So it's just naturally kind of went that way. And
yeah, I think it's really indicative of how big the industry has gotten, or how big free riding as a whole is. Not, you know, now there's different genres within free riding that you can be specialized in. Like you can focus on slope, and kind of nowadays you kind of have to. Like the best slope riders only ride slope. The best big mountain riders really only ride big mountain. And you know, everyone films, but it's just shows how far we've come, because Kyle and I are having the same conversation about how we were free riders and racers, and then at some point it got big enough to where we could just free ride, you know, because there was no one really doing. There was, you know, the fro riders and the very like Marzocchi sponsored people, or just a couple people that were like the free riders and make a living off it and do enough and to keep themselves entertained and the people entertained. But we had a huge, you know, switch when we're like, okay, and I would quit racing for him, but to bail from racing and go all into freeride now, like you're in the next gen to where you're doing all the slope style and big mountain, and then now you're bailing from that to be more specialized in big mountain. I love it. And you and Jackson and DJ and Ethan and all the dudes that are all focused more on riding big bikes and big mountain stuff, your careers have lasted, you know, multiple people's generation slope careers already. You know?
It's crazy.
Yeah, it just shows how fickle like a slope career can be.
Yeah.
But you know, you guys rose to the top, and I was really proud to see the way that you guys went, especially being Americans. You know,
Of course.
American pride.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, with what I said, nothing taken away from slopestyle, because I still love it. I ride my slope bike. I just try and keep my tricks current, and I don't learn anything else. Maybe here and there.
Yeah.
There's stuff I still want to do on a slope bike for, like, in the right opportunity.
Yeah.
Or a dirt jump bike, like dream tricks. I have like 3 that I'm gonna do at some point, but not in a competition, on my own time. And I think that's what, you know, I like riding trails again now too, like more than ever. It's just enjoyable for me, because it's not like
bikes
I have
are
to go,
so much better too.
Yeah. I mean, trails is in like dirt jump trails.
Oh, dirt jump, yeah.
Yeah, just like go and ride, because I just remember before I just couldn't enjoy riding, because every time I did, I had to prove myself and I guess I had to prove myself to other people, always in my own head, and prove it to myself, and just had that self-pressure where I had to win practice while just riding dirt jumps with my friends every time, like flip whip, 3 whip, 7, like every time, you know.
Yeah,
it was just yeah.
I think that sort of tenacity is why you are who you are, and why what helped. But yeah, at some point, then it's almost counterproductive, and but the way that you know, that's kind of wisdom too. At some point, then you gain knowledge and wisdom, but then lose a little bit of the, you know, chomping at the bit, want to win every session.
Yeah.
But trails, man, I wish that we had. I think if we had a good set of dirt jumps here, like flowy, proper dirt jumps, I think I would probably ride a hardtail. But I never ride a hardtail. So I guess I'd try to build like dirt jump style BMX trails on big bikes and just try to make those float, because there's no I don't know, dirt jumps take so much work, and you need other people to help you work. But hardtails, man, I never spent any time on them. But I think, yeah, you and Tom, it's a good, you know, extra motivation and extra kind of almost platform you have. Like Tom doing it, you know, backwards cork 10, like double flip 3, whatever you call it, on a hardtail, and then when he was also like one of the big bike guys.
Yeah,
but then he's still gonna, you know, utilize the hardtail for what it's worth. So I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's, I don't know. And then there's guys like Brett, who is just a freak, you know?
Yeah.
And he'll never not be who he is on all the bikes. And Seminuk, of course. It's like,
they've
so those
both
guys
worked so hard on all of them that they're never going to lose it.
No. And that motivates me sometimes, because I still enjoy all of it. And up until like 2019, I was still doing slope contests for fun. But after I wasn't worried about like rankings and world tour and getting into everything, I had way more fun those last few years doing slope contests. But now I think I'm done doing slope contests.
Yeah,
it's insane. There's no way I can keep up at all.
Yeah, I don't think I could. Even if towards the end of, I was the last of the first competitors, like Claw and Paul and Kyle and I and Watts and McCall, like we're in the first slope style, and we all lasted, you know, 10 years in slope or whatever, and then I was the last one to hang it up.
That whole crew, yeah.
And it was, God, I tried to hold on to it for so long, but at the end I was like, if I do my best dream run, I could maybe get on the podium, but I would need Brett and Brandon to crash to win. And I'm like, this is dumb. I'm working so hard for this, and I can't do it. Like, you need someone now, and then at that point you're like, all right, I'm out.
Yeah. And
luckily, there's other things that we can focus our attention on, and I think I've always been more of a big mountain rider anyway, even when we're riding slope style, you know?
Yeah. I didn't even know I was a big mountain rider. I never was. I was just a dirt jump skate park kid.
Yeah.
I started doing dirt jump contests, you know, and then that turned into slopestyle contests, because I feel like back, at least when I started, there was definitely separate, you know. Slopestyle was big dog, dirt jump, there's little dirt jump contests all over.
Yeah.
And, you know, did that, went to a bunch of them with, Goldman actually brought me to all of them. He's like the reason I got into that.
Goldman was the man.
Yeah, I think
And he got burned out real quick, though.
Yeah, he had a rough last part of his career. Like, he got kind of screwed over from the industry, and right, no, he did. And then a couple bad injuries in a row and no support. And he's definitely a traditional guy too. He just wanted to work.
Yeah.
And he's so smart, so good at math and welding, construction, everything. But he is. I think he's underrated because I think he's one of the greatest of all time. He was ahead of his time when he was in his prime. He was in. I think Andreu calls him the Power Man.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's like the best way to describe his style because he has style, but he's powerful.
He's a super strong kid or super strong man. You know.
Yeah.
Like
a freak. And then
he was like the first to really do flip variations off step downs. Mm-hmm. Like he was doing flip 1-foot X's off of big lip downs when no one really was.
Yeah.
I think like I'd do like a flip table and it was like a half-ass table and like you know, some people there's like little tiny, but he would do legit flip 1-foot X's.
Yeah.
And I was like, how do you do that? Like I don't understand how you pull and then like he's like, oh, you just wait and you do it. Like he had it. He kind of like in that sense he was ahead of his time and he was super stylish, super powerful, and just really talented.
Yeah. And just on all the bikes, he's just solid.
Yeah.
So much talent. And just, I don't know, I think he rode like, what's the word? Very like methodical. Everything was, he thought through it so much that's why he was, you know.
I always loved to find out that because I never knew that he was methodical and I always like to get a little bit more info and people start kind of peeling the onion of, you know, because you got your game face on, even if you're not competing, you don't really show all that's going through your head and all the mental struggles you have or how you plan out each line you take, each time you put your foot on the pedal. So there's a lot going on, even in, I guess, the more simple-minded or riders that try to ride simple, you know? I think it's really cool to hear someone that looks like they're just doing it and it's all easy. It's cool to see all the layers of what their thought process is.
It's all work.
Yeah.
It's work for everybody, and everybody has their own way to do everything. And I think Jamie and the McCalls are really alike with like how they think through everything.
Yeah.
Like this, I like it's not the way I ride. I'm more off feel for sure. Especially with like guinea pigging. It's like I've just noticed like riding with Cam so much at home, he counts the pedal strokes and the pumps, and we're talking about it, and he'll do like 20 run-ups or something kind of big, you know, and then I get all excited, and like, you know, and as you know, when I was younger, I took myself out a lot doing that because I wasn't actually prepared for it. But now I just know, I don't know, if I feel it and I don't know, if it just feels right and I have that burn inside, I just hit stuff, you know, and so it's fun to ride with Cam because I try to do what he does, but then it just makes me nervous and then I just hit it.
That's how all my friends are that ride moto, and they're like how it seems how like Josh Hill is, and he's the best dudes in the world. They
you just have to hit shit.
They look at it like really quick, and I've always heard so they don't get too psyched up, you know. They just got to look at it real quick and then just go and not get in their own head. Yeah. Whereas I'm a little bit more like Cam. I'm not like counting pedal strokes and stuff. I'm still more off field, but I'm definitely more along like I'm gonna get all the information that I can from as many run-ins as I can, and I'm not psyching myself out. I'll do 100 run-ins if I like trying to test speed. Yeah. So to think from afar, I guess people think that I'm like nervous about it, but I'm just trying to gather more information. Yeah. So I guess I'm somewhere in between you guys, but I'm always envious of the moto dudes that are just like, okay, look at it, all right, it computes, go. Like
it's crazy.
Do like one run-in maybe, and then just go. It's pretty damn cool.
Yeah, I'm definitely not on their level of just doing shit, but I feel like sometimes, and it depends on where you're at and what you're doing. Like Rampage last year, I got bit because I didn't take my time.
Were you I
was rushed.
Were you feeling? You were feeling rushed.
I was rushed against the wind. Yeah. And my crew was still digging, still slapping landing of my big drop, and wind started coming, and I was just like, fuck, I need to just hit this, and then I'll complete my whole line.
Yeah.
I wanted to hit it, and then that night, hit it as much as I possibly could before the next day.
Yeah.
And I just got ahead of myself, and the weather was weird, and the dirt was weird and slow, and I just went like this much. I don't know.
Yeah, I think patience is a virtue
Patience
for sure,
is good, yeah.
but patience is also like part of getting older and wisdom. But it's also incredibly hard to have patience, but then also still have the motivation to follow through.
Yeah.
You know, and not miss the boat, kind of, you know, and not be too late, and not be able to hit, and maybe having a guinea pig your drop in your run or something. Or,
Yeah.
So that's a fine line for sure. But I always, I guess, try to find cool anecdotes from other sports and good quotes, and I've always just heard, you know, the best, like Michael Jordan and LeBron, and then they always just ride their waves, you know, like so days are not riding that well, don't push it so hard.
Yeah.
And then like I've heard Chad Reed say that actually too. So that when you're feeling good, you know, capture it and go all in, and then just when you're not riding well and you're on a, you know, kind of a down the low part of your curve, just relax and enjoy it. Work on something new, like work on a new technique, or focus on body mechanics or something like that.
For sure. Makes a lot of sense, and I feel like that's where I've kind of naturally gone, and I guess that's just with experience, and you know, it's weird for me to be one of the, at least out of all the generations that are killing it right now. Like, you guys are definitely a generation ahead of me, you know, but as far as all the other kids, like, I'm old out of them, you know. Freeride Fiesta, I was like, besides Rhino, I was like one of the oldest ones there, and I was like, and it kind of, that was the first time I realized, I was like, oh, this is kind of trippy. Yeah. I'm like one of the old guys already, you know.
Yeah, I'm the oldest. After Kelly passed away, I was the oldest at Rampage. Yeah. And then Claw as well, but but it's also weird. I don't feel any older, but I'm like, oh shit,
You just are.
I got the biggest number.
Yeah, and and as cliche as it is, it's like age is only another. It's
for
like,
sure. I mean,
it's definitely true. Some days I feel really old, and I feel like that goes towards like my motivation and drive, and if I'm having fun and being able to just be in the moment, not be stressed about every day whatever's going on in normal life, you know.
I think if I didn't ride, I would feel far older.
For sure.
And I'm really fortunate with how many surgeries I've had that I don't really feel arthritic, and I don't really haven't had to, I guess, face the aging process that all of my injuries have caused. And hopefully I never will. You never know, but I know that if I didn't ride with the potential to fall and dealing with those as a byproduct, I would feel older. Like my brother, feels super old. He's only 2.5 years older.
He was just telling me that last night.
And he's had a couple of surgeries. Like I think he's had one knee and then a cleanup or something. But I guess that's as close as I could get to have perspective of what it would be like if I didn't. You know, because he doesn't ride that much, and I think it makes me so happy and gives me an outlet. So I guess it seems like you're on the same path to longevity through something that's high risk.
Yeah. I've noticed back to the guinea pig stuff. All my snowboard friends are the same way. They're just like the moto dudes.
Dude, you know what Danny Cass said the other day? I went on the Danny and the Dingo podcast. And after we're done, he's like, dude, Travis is a bitch. he's like he just sitting back, and he's like, no, and it'll be a jump that he already hit. Then he's like, no, you can go test it. You go get it. He just sits back and lets people like
just big dogs.
This lets them go. And I mean, at some point, like, it's kind of just being smart, but at another point, other people can definitely perceive it as like, dude, come on, you've already hit this jump. Don't big time me, you know. But he's 39, dude. Travis is 39.
Really?
Maybe even 40. I don't think he's at 40 yet, but
I didn't think he was. Yeah, I didn't know how old he was.
Yeah, and so I guess that has, enabled his longevity.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy though, because he's such a beast. He's still riding in his prime.
Yeah, he doesn't look old at all. Like,
No.
When he rides and the way he rides and the way he attacks things and competes, yeah, he doesn't look old at all.
Yeah, he's powerful. It's fun to watch him.
I just got to go on a little detour to dump this trash from the week.
Oh, yes.
We go behind our old office.
Oh, cool. Do you live up there now?
We live pretty much due west from here, like straight over the casinos.
Got it.
Oh, yeah, you haven't been to my new house yet, huh? Well, anything to close it out? With Kyle's, it kind of just ended when we got to the property, but I'm like, I feel like we need some sort of a nice joke or way to let people know how they can ride like Carson Storch.
Ride like me? Well,
because you live a pretty sick life, and you're an incredible rider. So to give someone something that they can take away from this.
let's
Best.
see. I don't know. Just have fun.
If there was one thing you could go back and for sure keep part of your career in the way you rode, like your mindset, or like what would it be? What would be the one thing you're like, that I'm definitely keeping?
Every time you're scared and unsure about something, but you kind of feel like you should do it, you should definitely do it. Whether it's a trick or hitting something new, or getting something like in the last light. Like I've found that a lot with like shooting photos or filming. If just not regretting trying something. It's usually when you're in that mode, and when you have a little bit of adrenaline and a little bit of uncertainty. Usually it works perfect, like better than you ever thought.
Yeah.
And those are like all my memories of like the best times riding is like, taking risks that you are pretty sure you can do, but not quite sure.
And what is do you have a go-to for blocking out fear, or how do you overcome the fear?
I breathe. Or use a lot of breathing techniques, I guess. I do it all the time. Just something to get the heart rate down, like literally physically it works,
Yeah.
And I've found that that's my best technique, to just calm down and just get my head in a different place, and the place I try and get it in is just fun.
Yeah.
And do it for myself, but also show people, like my vision of riding.
Yeah.
That's what I tell myself, It's not like a competitive thing, it's just not me trying to prove myself, it's just show people what you're here for, and just have fun. That's what I try and just tell myself in my self-talk,
Love that. That's a perfect way to end it, because I've adopted that. I don't know, probably only a few years ago actually, but Behrman does that every time before he even hits the ramp. I mean, I think the breathing, like just focusing on your breath before doing something big,
it's so beneficial. It does a lot. Gets your heart rate down, oxygenates your blood.
Gets your mind to focus on something else rather than just spinning out.
Yeah, just it helps you get right in the moment too.
Yeah.
And that's where you need to be. You don't want your mind elsewhere dropping in and having negative self-talk and whatever, I found it to be very beneficial.
All right, let's end it on that.
Yeah, dude.
Thanks for the chat.
Get
out.
Get out. Where are we? There's a casino right there.
I'm stoked on that.